there are moments in my life where I sort of reflect back on the things that I've invested in and the decisions I've made to acquire some of the objects in my possession. And, with that comes some regret as well as some questioning of judgment as to like why I did such things. And, I'm someone who I'm very proud of how far I've come and, the things that I've accomplished. Yet, I always believe that I can do more. And I'm always looking to sort of make smart decisions. I think we all are in the end, is we're trying to justify at all times our reasoning for things. And at times, I feel sort of conflicted on the decisions I've made and whether I could have made better ones if I had more information or just had more time to think about it. And so this kind of dynamic goes on and on, for me at times, for quite some time. Basically, this started somewhat recently, a couple months ago, I would say, where I sort of began looking at my collection in a different way, where not that I wasn't proud of how far I've come, but in terms of like, okay, why did I decide to invest this much money and buy these specific games, and I sort of look at my library, and my collection at times is filled with games that I really do enjoy and I really do love going back to and, really want to be able to have and play eventually. And at other times, there are games that I invested in where I purely invested in them, even though I knew for a matter of fact that I didn't like them beforehand when I played them. I invested in them for just the reasoning of, oh, okay, I played this. It's available on my Xbox Live or PlayStation Network history, so I have to have it in my collection because it's a game that I used to play before, even if I can't see myself going back to play that said game. And I don't know, this is sort of something that this is where sort of that dynamic starts, is where I start to question things like, okay, why did I do that? And I get at times really angry, and sometimes I want to make a destructive decision, which is just like get rid of everything, purge it all. And, at other times I look at it and I say, well, I've already invested this much, so, might as well just keep going. I've already, been heading in this direction for quite a while. So to turn back now, I would have to do even more work, which require even more money spent, which I just don't want to do, And so I guess for me, maybe this is in a way sort of a maturity lesson where I'm starting to realize that there are things that are worth investing in, and then there are other things that are clearly not. Now, not every single game on the planet is worth playing, of course. Some games are just, quite frankly, waste your time and are downright terrible, And I played many games this generation, that I feel were quite huge letdowns in games I would never go back and revisit. Yet I've had these games in my collection for years, and I pretty much see I have no plans to get rid of them or to trade them in and get something else, and I'm bouncing back and forth between this. At times, I just want to sit there and say, all right, go through your complete collection up to this point, pick out games that you can see yourself going back to and playing and, really enjoying, and then get rid of all the other ones that are just sort of there taking up shelf space, right? And, I will admit that some of it is artificial, where I literally had bought the game purely just because, either it was an exclusive to the platform or I just like having it on the shelf so that people can look at it, Again, I think a lot of that is a maturity thing, and it's a part of growing up, is realizing that you have desires and that, your minds and your outlook on things change, and you start to, I guess, grow, hopefully, a clearer picture on, yourself and what you want going into the future. At least I hope it ends up being like that, But I don't know, this game collection for me has been an important aspect of my life, and I've invested so much money up to this point in my game collection. And I really, I do admit that it gives me some pride when I walk into my room, after work and I see all these games sitting there. It's like, oh man, I got a lot of games, and it certainly makes for a nice backdrop whenever I'm doing videos and you see this beautiful game collection in the background, and people who know me, and I'm passionate about it. It's sort of proof that I'm really passionate about gaming, that I've been doing this for quite a while, and that I'm not just here. Games are not just a waste of time for me, that it's a truly a transformative entertainment experience that I really, really care about, and that has changed my life forever. I just feel like I feel almost in a weird place, because it's like I can sense that in my inner self. It's like I have something to prove, and it's sort of that child in me that wants everything, and wants it when I want it. But there's like that adult side of me that's starting to become more prominent now, that's sort of battling with that and saying, all this is just excess shit that's just not necessary and you don't need. I'm never gonna go back and play said game, on this platform. I'm never gonna go back and play this other game on that platform. It's like, why does the box have to sit here on my shelf? I think that a lot of the reason, especially last generation, that collecting has become such a hobby of mine, is that for a long time, for the last generation, I wasn't able to play a lot of the games that I wanted to play, whether the reason was not having the money to afford them at the time, or because, the games were like rated M for mature, and I was a kid and my parents wouldn't let me play those games, and so I missed out on a lot of these great games last generation, and especially the generation before, on the PS2 in particular. And I feel as almost I'm trying to fill the void with purchasing all these games and trying to play them, because, this generation I sort of started very strong. I was already an adult when this generation started, and I was making money. I was able to afford both consoles on release, and I've had both consoles since, and I invested in upgrades, I invested in games. You guys know, when I used to do these unboxing videos and me driving to GameStop and stuff, sometimes I would purchase like 2 or 3 games in a single day, and it's like, I look back on that now, I'm like, oh, that was fun to do those videos, those were the days, but like, I had like literally nothing better to spend my money on, and so I like this generation, I was able to, really create and get the game experiences that I really wanted to get, and I really focused on that, and so I can look back on all the games that I played this generation, and I can, easily pick out a list of, okay, here are the ones that are worth playing, or that I found were worth playing, and here are the ones that I actually think are worth keeping. Here are the ones that I probably would never, ever, ever go back to, And then versus last generation, where basically the first half of last generation, I was sitting there and had to make do with, 4 or 5 games a year only, and I missed out on a lot of games that, at the time I really wanted to play, but I just, I was a kid. I wasn't making money. I didn't have a job at the time. I had to rely on my parents and relatives and holidays and birthdays in order to get games, and I also, my parents were very adamant about, making sure that I was playing content appropriate for my age. And so I missed out on a lot of these games, and I didn't have any older siblings to turn to, who were really big into gaming, who could help me out and give me these great experiences. And so I feel like there's almost a part of me that's making up for that loss. And that's why I've invested in so many of these games that, because I haven't played them before, and maybe I think maybe because of that, it's like, okay, I don't know, I don't know if I like these games or not. I've heard good things about them, or I've heard bad things about them, but I'm the type of guy who I like to find out for myself, I want to formulate my own opinion on things. And yeah, I can always make an educated decision based on opinions of others and the general consensus of, some of said game or whatever. I can make an educated decision based on that, but in the end, you're never really gonna know until you know for yourself. And I feel like there's almost that part of me that's like, trying to make up for that lost time that all that time that was lost because I didn't have the resources or the ability to be able to play those games myself, and that really sucks. It sucks that it sucks, because you can play the games now, right? And it's just different, it's different playing like the first Assassin's Creed now versus playing the first Assassin's Creed when it came out in 2007. Like they're completely two different things, because one of them is you have the benefit of seeing progression over time and how the genre and the series has changed over time. And even if you never played an Assassin's Creed, I'm sure you've seen Assassin's Creed before. You know the general formula, and a lot of games have very much taken elements of Assassin's Creed and either made it better or did it worse. It's an established franchise versus playing Assassin's Creed back in 2007 when it came out. You're like, oh shit, look at this open world. Look at how beautiful the graphics are. I've never seen anything like this. Look at all the NPCs and interactions with them, And I remember playing the first Assassin's Creed back in the day, But a lot of those other games I didn't get to play. And I'm almost worried that going back to them now, it's like, oh shit, I'm going to have a completely different experience than I would have if I played them originally back when they came out. And that's something I can never change. I can't sit there and go back and change the past and experience those games way back in the day. I'd literally have to be living under a rock, and not know anything. But then I wouldn't the decision to play those games wouldn't stem from passion. I would likely never even know if those games even existed. And so it's weird, I feel terrible for not having those opportunities to play those games, and, not having the mindset or not having the maturity level to understand levels of content that I can easily do today versus when I did when I was 12, 13 years old when those games were coming out, I guess it's just, a matter of, we all don't get to choose where we start off in this life or when we start off in this life. We're just given our lives, and then this is it. We make the best with what we have available. So hopefully you guys may have a point to make on this. I feel, again, I don't think that I'm not looking for anyone's answer, on what I should do. Although, please, I appreciate any advice that you guys can get in terms of like, does it get better, but yeah, I there's a part of me that's thinking it in a more logical step, and it's battling with the artistic side of me, because the artistic side's like, this is your passion, just fuck it, do what you want. It's your passion, and who cares how it looks. And then there's a logical side to me where I'm looking at it from rationality. I'm just like, this makes no sense. So I sort of, I'm sort of going between the two personalities right now, right? But like I said, this has been going on for a few months now, and usually, this has popped up before, but most of the time it sort of just sits there and stays, or most of the time it just sits there and kind of goes away, after a certain amount of time. But at this point, I'm sort of like, I'm concerned. It's weird. I'm actually making decisions actively in my head about, hey, should I only get a single platform for next generation? Should I not even worry about getting the Xbox and PlayStation and the PC and all that crap? Should I just get one console or just game on one PC, So like a part of me is like, making this decision actively, about next generation and in terms of game collecting. Should I make an effort to play as much games as I played this generation? Because I look at my backlog, and I'm playing, I'm almost like a year behind in terms of games. All the games that came out this year, besides on my PC, I'm actually caught up pretty closely. I just completed Rage 2, actually. And so, I'm going to be starting My Friend Pedro, and then after that is Control. And then the only next PC game I'm waiting for after that is kind of Ghost Recon Breakpoint. But I'm even on the fence about whether I should get that at all, And then Doom Eternal is like, again, like the last PC game I'll probably be playing for this year's games on that platform. And so, I on my consoles, I have like this large backlog that kind of predates a year. So I'm still playing games from 2018, and here we are almost done with 2019. And I haven't even started any games on my console like Resident Evil 2, Metro Exodus, or Judgment, or Days Gone, or any of those games. I haven't even started those at all yet. And I'm almost done with my 2018 backlog before I move on to those games. But yeah, I'm sort of I'm sort of far behind, so I'm like wondering, man, should I be playing as many games as I do? Should I be investing in as much games as I do? Is this the right decision to make? So yeah. Anyway, this is me sort of repeating myself at this point. I'm really interested in knowing what you guys think. Especially some of you guys who I know are older and who have been doing this for quite some time. Maybe you can lend some insight onto how you gauge collecting and what has made you happy and some of the mistakes you made with collecting. Did you guys ever feel like you were collecting things in excess? That you weren't doing it out of, oh, I love this game, I'm going to go back and play this game, that you were doing it simply out of the fact of, well, I mean, I bought it, so I'm going to play it. Here it is. I'm really interested to know what you guys think. All right. Have a good one, and look forward to all your comments. Talk to you all later.